What it is next week. Eric's territory is on ice. Competition heating up.
Next time, with the Alliance in tatters.
You claimed the biggest advantage in floor history. What's your body temperature like?
Ice cold.
And his ringleader frozen.
Until all of you play, he can't be challenged.
Do I want him unfrozen? Yeah, and I'm gonna go after him.
It's time for new contenders to rise from the floor.
What just happened?
There's a Wolverine ready to bite their face off.
Whoa!
6 strangers, 48 hours, 0 sleep. Johnny Knoxville hosts Fear Factor, 48 Hours of Fear, tomorrow on Fox.
Now, your primetime local news leader. Fox 22 News at 10.
Hearts are heavy tonight after a solemn and lengthy procession carried Warden Service pilot Joshua Tibbetts from Augusta to Newport this morning. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Beth Jones. Authorities say the 50-year-old died in a plane crash yesterday while working in Franklin County. Our Doug Banks has the story.
He died what he loved doing.
Joshua Tibbetts was honorably transferred from Augusta to a Newport funeral home Wednesday morning. The 50-year-old from New Gloucester died in a plane crash on Tuesday.
Such a tragic scenario for the state of Maine.
He was stalking fish and collecting data over Schoolhouse Pond in the Franklin County town of Avon when the Maine Department of Inland Fisheries and Wildlife says his Cessna 185F automatically dispatched a distress call at around 11 a.m. Franklin County authorities responded and confirmed it was Tibbetts who died in the crash. He was the only one on board, and the cause of the crash remains unknown as of Wednesday.
We have been in communication with the FAA as well as the NTSB and will be assisting them with their investigation over the upcoming days.
Tibbetts served as a Maine game warden for 18 years, the last 3 as a pilot. Inland Fisheries and Wildlife says he supported search and rescue missions, conservation efforts, and public safety across Maine.
It was shock. Known Josh forever. Just total shock. Great guy. Lived right in the area, did so much for his community and the state.
Corinna Assistant Fire Chief Sean Richards described Tibbetts as full of fun and one of a kind.
He had the nickname of Boomer. He was loud and full of fun and boisterous, and everybody I think that's associated with Josh has a funny story about times that they had with him, good times and good talks. He's really one of a kind. Grew right up in town with him. Coached him in Little League Baseball, Babe Ruth Baseball. Went to our school systems here. Hometown guy, hometown hero.
Richards on Wednesday was one amongst a sea of state and local authorities and community members between Augusta and Newport who paid their respects.
It was kind of somber, but it was also just amazing to see the support for the man, his family, and the Warden Service, basically the whole state of Maine.
In Newport, Doug Banks, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
2 men arrested in Bangor Monday appeared in court today in connection with a Maine Drug Enforcement and Homeland Security investigation. 34-year-old Carl Harvey of Glenburn and 52-year-old Adam Brooks were taken into custody just after 6 p.m. at the intersection of Odland Road and Hammond Street Extension. Assistant Attorney General Jason Horn said it started with a home invasion that allegedly involved Harvey and Brooks. According to court testimony, 4 vehicles pulled into a driveway in Herman at the same time.
On surveillance video at the house, Mr. Harvey can be seen getting out of the lead vehicle with Adam Brooks. Harvey has a bandana and sunglasses on and immediately pulls out a pistol.
The prosecutor said luckily no one was home at the time, or it could have turned out very differently. MDEA says agents located the car at a hotel with drugs and 2 loaded guns inside. Harvey is facing multiple charges, including burglary, aggravated drug trafficking, and possession of a firearm by a prohibited person. He is being held on $150,000 bail. Adam Brooks is facing 4 counts. He is being held on $20,000 bail. Vice President J.D. Vance is set to visit Bangor Thursday, and preparations for his arrival were already in place across the city today. As our Alex Schley tells us, residents have mixed emotions about the visit.
Thursday, Air Force Two is scheduled to touch down in the Queen City. According to the White House's website, Vance is expected to deliver remarks at 12:30 at Bangor International Airport's aviation fixed base operator on Main Avenue. A spokesperson for the National Republican Party says the vice president plans to use the visit to highlight what Republicans describe as Democratic mismanagement of the state. Residents are mixed on how they feel about the impending visit.
I think it's pretty cool. I mean, I think anytime that somebody that's like big and famous is cool that they're coming to our small little town.
I just wonder why. Like, what's he doing here and what does he want?
Why? I'm curious.
It's great. I mean, to have a vice president come to the city and see the people of Bangor is a great thrill.
Both airport and police officials declined to discuss specific security measures. However, Wednesday night, no parking, temporary police order signs lined the roads surrounding the airport. Officials also put out a statement urging travelers to plan ahead. While commercial flights are expected to operate on schedule, they warn of heavier than normal traffic and possible delays. In Bangor, Alex Schley for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
A hearing on the Citizens Initiative, an act to designate school sports participation and facilities by sex, stretched into its second day. Initially, the Secretary of State's office found the initiative's petition efforts to be valid, but a suit was filed to challenge that decision. Petition gatherers were questioned on what towns they visited and if they ever pre-filled any of the information on the petition sheets. Attorney Chris Dodge, who is representing those challenging the petitions, says some of the sheets look like the same person filled out some of the information, like the voter's printed name, street address, and municipality. Written closing arguments are due by midnight this Friday, and a decision is due no later than 5 business days from today. That decision can be challenged in Superior Court. The town of Millinocket has placed Fire Chief Jonathan Cody on paid administrative leave pending an investigation. Emails obtained by ABC 7 and Fox 22 indicate the move at this point is not considered a disciplinary action. In the meantime, Second Assistant Chief Farrington has assumed interim operational leadership of the department. Town Manager Peter Jamieson says officials hope to reach a resolution in the coming weeks. As school boards across the state scramble to finalize their budgets before they go out to voters, folks in the town of Hamden are feeling an increased squeeze on their wallet. Hamden makes up the largest share of both students and revenue for RSU 22, which covers 4 towns. School board members say they've worked tirelessly to keep costs low. However, property valuation in Hamden reached over $1 billion this year, and the town is going through property tax and value reassessment for the first time since 1992. It's something the school board has to balance for their budget and an issue causing costs to skyrocket.
We understand that there are a lot of people who, this is a hard economy right now, and prices are going up. They're seeing it at the gas pump. We're trying to be sensitive to that, and while also running a school district that parents want to move to bring their kids and have their kids educated here.
A district-wide meeting for the RSU 22 budget will be held on June 4th. You can visit our website, foxbangor.com, for more. A network of substance abuse recovery clinics will open a new location in Ellsworth to address the lack of services in that area. Everest Recovery is a network of opioid use disorder clinics. The company recently completed the city's review process and is renovating a vacant building for the new Ellsworth facility. City planner Brittany Merrill says Everest Recovery identified Ellsworth as a community in need of treatment services based on their research.
They noticed that there was a lack of such services in this area. Because of the distance people are traveling in order to receive these services, it does put a burden on those citizens.
Merrill says the clinic will help address a major gap in the county's treatment services. Everest Recovery hopes to open the new clinic later this year. And folks, we'll pause now and take a first look at our forecast.
Thank you, Beth. Back a little bit below average for today here in Bangor. Increasing cloud cover and a few evening showers prevented us from reaching back above average, but we did see temperatures reach the low 60s up near Holton and Presque Isle for today. 58 in Millinocket, 57 here in Bangor, and even all the way in Freiburg, hanging out in the mid 40s for today because you saw those cloud cover and the showers first. So that's what kept you a bit cooler out there. But you can still see a few showers here in the Bangor region overnight tonight, looking like they'll start to make their way out of the area by 3 a.m., but still nothing too crazy. Some light showers out there. Now, the model analysis has pushed much of the heavier rain off to the west now, but I still believe there'll be some scattered light showers thrown in here in the Bangor region with the cloud cover for tomorrow. But again, nothing as heavy as you're going to see over to the west, and especially the southwest. Portland could be seeing 1 to 2 inches of rainfall by your Saturday morning. So taking a look at overnight for tonight, a few showers still in the area, getting out of here right around 2 to 3 a.m. and staying dry until tomorrow afternoon. A few more scattered showers will make their way back into the Bangor region.
Chase, thank you. Still to come on Fox 22 News at 10, the Eastern Area Agency on Aging welcomed attendees for their 15th annual Healthy Aging Expo. And our Grace Blanchard was in Searsport to highlight a beloved staple in the community. Those stories and more local news when we come back.
Paramount Paving, Maine's go-to for all your paving and seal coating. Paramount Paving offers commercial and residential paving and seal coating services throughout eastern and central Maine. Give us a call for a free estimate today. Paramount Paving. When it comes to paving, we are Paramount.
Whether you're hurt by a landscaping truck like this, a work van like this, or any commercial vehicle, we know how to get you the big money you may deserve.
Hurt by a commercial vehicle? Call the Twos. We win for you.
Sprague's Nursery and Garden Center is your destination for all things green, and yellow, and pink, and red, and, well, you'll understand when you visit us. Plants aren't just another department here. They're our whole world. From gardening classes to our expansive greenhouses, we cultivate a community of budding and seasoned gardeners alike. Professional landscapers turn to us too. Shouldn't you? Sprague's Nursery and Garden Center, growing with you since 1947.
Think you know Robert Charles? Think again. While President Trump was crushing the woke left, DC insider Bob Charles was cashing in, making millions holding lucrative contracts with the woke DEI Never Trump Obama administration. Bob Charles, looking the other way, abandoning the MAGA movement, working for liberal DEI-loving Democrats, failing President Trump. Anything for a buck chuck can't be trusted. Trump traitor Robert Charles, woke, radical, wrong. Just too liberal for Maine.
When Blazing Trails located in Lincoln want to know the local forecast, they log on to foxbangor.com. Blazing Trails is Lincoln's #1 trusted dispensary, providing outstanding product and customer service to eastern and central Maine. Paramount Paving, Maine's go-to for all your paving and seal coating. Paramount Paving offers commercial and residential paving and seal coating services throughout eastern and central Maine. Give us a call for a free estimate today. Paramount Paving. When it comes to paving, we are Paramount.
The bridge connecting Milford and Old Town will be revamped in the upcoming weeks. The Maine Department of Transportation began work on resurfacing the bridge today as part of a surface replacement project. Now, the changes will include resetting curbs, structural repair, paving, and ADA-compliant sidewalks. The DOT says there will be 2 lanes of two-way traffic open at all times. Folks may experience temporary delays. The project is expected to be completed by the end of June. The Eastern Area Agency on Aging is hosting its 15th annual Healthy Aging Expo on Thursday. Over 70 vendors ranging from healthcare services to nonprofits will be at the Anna Shrine from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. The agency communications and development director Chris Hill says the expo is a great opportunity to have so many resources under one roof.
We kind of view this as a catalyst and a facilitator for our older community to interact with our vendors and things like that. So this is a great opportunity, as I said, to get those questions answered and see what's around.
The expo is free for attendees and will also feature a 50-50 raffle and a food truck outside. Last November, a 9-foot bronze sea captain statue was unveiled in the town of Searsport. Now the woman who spent years trying to make it a reality is sharing what it means to see it become a community staple. Our Grace Blanchard has more.
Looking over the town of Searsport is a piece of its heritage.
When I was a little girl, Searsport was known as the home of sea captains.
The sea captain statue was unveiled last November, but the idea for it came decades before that.
And I was probably around 8 or 9 years old. My mother gave me just a little statue of a sea captain. Doesn't look anything like that one, but just a little statue. And I remember thinking then, oh, Searsport needs to have a statue.
A few years ago, during the 175th anniversary of the town, Kelly joined forces with her longtime friend Natalie Knox to make the statue a reality. Unfortunately, Natalie fell ill and passed before that could happen.
So I just kind of sat back and thought, I can't do this. No way can I do this.
After her husband passed just months after Natalie, she felt motivated to make it happen. That's when support from area communities started flowing in.
I call it a dream come true because it's on the back plaque, because just so many people stepped up.
Since then, the statue has become a community staple.
It went in late last year, but even with it going in later and being installed later, I saw people stopping and taking pictures in front of it.
The statue has been dedicated to Natalie Knox and is displayed prominently in front of the Penobscot Marine Museum. A gift from Kelly to her friend and the town she's always called home.
I needed something I could leave. I wanted to have something that I knew I was responsible for.
In Searsport, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
And we'll have more on what's happening in the town of Searsport during our live On the Road show this Friday. Don't miss it. Coming up on the 10 p.m. news on Fox 22, the Pentagon says the cost of the Iran conflict has exceeded $4 billion in just the past 2 weeks, bringing the total to nearly $29 billion. And as many passengers on the cruise ship haunted by the deadly hantavirus outbreak continue to quarantine, another cruise ship docked in France facing a separate outbreak from a gastrointestinal illness. Well, those stories and more just ahead.
What does Graham Plattner think of rural Mainers? He calls them stupid and racist. And Plattner called some Maine lobstermen drug-addicted pieces of shit. That's the real Graham Plattner. Pine Tree Results Pack is responsible for the content of this advertising.
What is third-hand smoke? Unlike second-hand smoke you can see, third-hand smoke is invisible toxic residue left behind by smoking and vaping. It sticks to surfaces in your home and car, kids' toys, floors and carpets, furniture, clothing, pet toys, even car seats. It stays long after smoking and vaping stops, and these toxic chemicals can put the health of children, pets, and others at risk. Protect your loved ones from third-hand smoke. Visit MaineQuitLink.com to learn the risks.
Need a driveway paved or an entire road surfaced? Give Eaton Paving and Excavation a call. Eaton Paving offers a full line of excavation packages, from new home projects to new and replacement septics and driveways. We also install new shoreland and do shoreland repairs. Our operators have more than 75 years combined experience, and we have been delivering quality, professional service for nearly 3 decades. We strive to exceed your expectations. Give us a call today at 207-348-5630 or visit us at EatonPaving.com.
When the morning light hits Maine, start your day with a good morning, Maine. Craig Colson, Janessa Bishop by your side, bringing the stories that matter statewide. Local news and the forecast ahead. Wake up informed, ready to go on ABC 7 and Fox 22.
Graham Plattner blames Maine's women for getting raped because he says they get up drunk. And Plattner bragged about having a Nazi tattoo on his chest. That's the real Graham Plattner. Pine Tree Results Pack is responsible for the content of this advertising.
You're watching Fox 22, Bangor.
The Pentagon says the cost of the Iran conflict has exceeded $4 billion in just the past 2 weeks, bringing the total to nearly $29 billion. Also today, a new plan to confiscate nuclear material from Iran. Fox's chief national security correspondent Jennifer Griffin reports.
Under President Trump's leadership, we are securing peace through strength.
Energy Secretary Chris Wright, who oversees the U.S. nuclear enterprise, testified today that the Trump administration should go after more than just Iran's 970 pounds of highly enriched uranium. It also, he said, should secure the remaining 11-ton stockpile of uranium, which Iran has enriched to 20%.
In order to, in effect, secure or stop their enrichment, President Trump would have to go after all of the 12 tons, not just 1 ton of uranium.
I think that's the wise strategy. Ultimately, the goal is to prevent future enrichment of uranium as well.
A pair of new reports suggest that more of Iran's ballistic missile stockpile, as well as its launchers and underground missile sites, survived 7 weeks of U.S. bombing than the Pentagon has publicly acknowledged. The New York Times reports Iran has restored access to 30 out of 33 missile sites along the Strait of Hormuz. And the Washington Post says U.S. intelligence has concluded Iran retained 70% of its pre-war missile stockpile and 75% of its mobile launchers.
There is public reporting suggesting that our intelligence agencies say that Iran still has 70% of their missile and drone capability, which would be a failure of our objectives if that were to be true.
I'm not going to comment in this forum on what may or may not have been opined on by the IC.
I would answer the same way as the chairman.
U.S. forces continue enforcing a naval blockade near the Strait of Hormuz. CENTCOM says it has turned back more than 67 commercial vessels, allowed 15 humanitarian aid cargo vessels to pass, disabling 4 ships, including firing warning shots at 2 vessels earlier this week. In Washington, Jennifer Griffin, Fox News.
A historic meeting taking place between President Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping, with trade, AI, geopolitics, and the war in Iran all likely to come up in their discussions. Fox's Caroline Elliott has the details.
The leaders of the 2 most powerful economies in the world coming face to face in Beijing for the first time in nearly a decade.
It's a paradigm shift. It's no longer G1 world, it's a G2 world.
With President Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping reportedly looking at a long-lasting trade deal.
It's both our top political challenge geopolitically, and it's also the most important relationship for us to manage.
The meeting could reset the relationship after an all-out trade war last year when tariffs on China went as high as 145%.
China, I would say, is leading candidate for the Chief Ripper offer.
Since then, the president has scaled back the rhetoric. China may announce plans to buy American soybeans, beef, and Boeing airplanes, and U.S. officials are focused on restoring access to China's rare earth minerals. Also sure to come up, the war in Iran.
The Iran war is going to dominate the subtext of this entire visit.
China and Iran are allies, and President Trump could ask Xi for help in reaching a peace deal and reopening the Strait of Hormuz. But China, in exchange, could seek leverage on other issues, including Taiwan.
I don't think that he wants the headline coming out of his trip to Beijing to be that he got pushed around by Xi Jinping on Taiwan.
The White House has high hopes for this trip, but before the meeting, Chinese officials reiterated they will crush any attempts at Taiwan independence. And New York, Caroline Elliott, Fox News.
The number of hantavirus cases diagnosed from a cruise ship now stands at 11, including 3 earlier deaths. 18 Americans are in quarantine back in the States. Meanwhile, a second cruise ship was stopped for hours today in France after an unrelated outbreak of illness. Fox's Caroline Shively reports from Washington.
The risk to the American public from hantavirus remains low, according to a CDC update on Wednesday. After an outbreak on a cruise ship near Africa this month, 18 American passengers have been quarantined, with 2 in Georgia and the rest in Nebraska.
The University of Nebraska team here is conducting regular temperature monitoring, symptom screening, and general wellness evaluations.
Health officials in multiple countries are monitoring the passengers' crew and their close contacts. Hantavirus is normally transmitted by rodents, but it's possible this strain was passing human to human on the ship. It can take up to 6 weeks for symptoms to appear.
Due to the long incubation period, it is still possible that more cases among the passengers who are now actually in quarantine will occur. this cannot be excluded.
We continue to wait for the results of the tests.
In an unrelated incident, 1,700 passengers on a British cruise were temporarily ordered to stay on ship outside Bordeaux, France on Wednesday. The order came after about 50 people were infected by a gastrointestinal illness.
Certainly hasn't caused me any stress so far, just the frustration of looking out at this beautiful city and not being able to visit it.
The CDC says there has been a rise in contagious outbreaks on cruise ships recently, mostly due to a new norovirus strain. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
The former lawyer convicted of murdering his wife and son will get a new trial. The South Carolina Supreme Court overturned the conviction of Alex Murdaugh. Justices blame a court clerk and the original trial judge. Fox's Madison Scarpino has details from Atlanta.
Alec Murdaugh, convicted of killing his wife and son, will get another chance to prove his innocence. It's the latest chapter in the once prominent South Carolina attorney's legal saga after the state's top court ruled Murdaugh was denied his right to a fair trial because of the actions of court clerk Becky Hill.
As the clerk of court, I tend to be more like a Switzerland.
Verdict, guilty. Murdaugh was found guilty in March 2023 for murdering his wife Maggie and son Paul at the family's estate 2 years earlier. But in a unanimous decision, the South Carolina Supreme Court writes that County Clerk Rebecca Hill placed her fingers on the scales of justice, adding there was shocking jury interference after jurors say Hill told them they could not trust Murdaugh's testimony and pressured them to quickly reach a guilty verdict. The court says Hill was attracted by the siren call of celebrity and wanted to sell a book she was writing about the trial.
She went on to say how we were all going to be famous and this is, just the trial of the century.
Last year, Hill pleaded guilty to perjury, obstruction of justice, and misconduct. She's now serving 3 years probation. Murdaugh's attorneys applaud the Supreme Court's decision, saying in a statement, Alec has said from day one that he did not kill his wife and son. We look forward to a new trial conducted consistent with the Constitution and the guidance this court has provided. An attorney who represented 2 jurors says they also feel vindicated.
They know that efforts were made to orchestrate their emotions and their consideration in this case.
Prosecutors say they want to retry Murdaugh as soon as possible. He remains behind bars after pleading guilty to stealing $12 million from his clients, and he's currently serving a 27-year state sentence. In Atlanta, Madison Scarpino, Fox News.
And we will be right back. Stay with us.
It's the new season of Next Level Shaft, and the competition is more chaotic than ever.
That's crazy.
Next Level Shaft, all new Thursdays on Fox.
At Old Town Redemption Center, we are always ready to help with any fundraisers or bottle drives. We are here to help our community. Like and follow us on Facebook for upcoming weekly holiday giveaways and our monthly $100 drawing.
I got hurt by a big truck. Why did I call the twos? Because life-changing injuries deserve life-changing money. We got a client who broke multiple bones in a commercial vehicle accident, $700,000. Call the twos. We win for you.
You're getting ripped off. Criminals overbill Main Care. They even charge for fake services, and Janet Mills let it happen. I'm Jonathan Bush. I've built systems that stopped fraud and abuse and saved customers millions. As governor, I'll audit every program and reduce that waste and fraud. Politicians and lobbyists don't have what it takes to clean up this corruption, but I do. I'm Jonathan Bush. Let's shake up Augusta.
Welcome to H&H Mercantile, your local destination for Maine made treasures. We offer a wide array of products from handmade arts and crafts to pet essentials, games, and local products, such as maple syrup and farm fresh eggs. Every visit supports Maine artisans and growers. Located at 31 East Main Street in Searsport, we are open 6 days a week. Come visit us today. It's more than a shopping trip. It's a celebration of our local community.
Cancer affects everyone, but there is hope at Northern Light Eastern Maine Medical Center's Champion the Cure Challenge, where every dollar raised helps patients in our own backyard. Make a difference. Walk, run, or cycle August 15th in Brewer. Visit ctcchallenge.org.
At Old Town Redemption Center, We are always ready to help with any fundraisers or bottle drives. We are here to help our community. Like and follow us on Facebook for upcoming weekly holiday giveaways and our monthly $100 drawing.
The Homeland Security Secretary is sounding the alarm over funding for his department ahead of the World Cup, while the money from Congress is tied up in a billion-dollar ballroom. We return to Fox's Caroline Shively.
Republicans appeared on the verge of funding Immigration and Border Patrol agencies without Democrats who won't vote yes without reform. But now there's a complication.
I doubled the size of it, you dumb person. It's double the size.
The Senate bill now includes $1 billion for security measures in the new White House ballroom and East Wing. Along with the size increase, it's also doubled in price.
Trump and the Senate GOP try to force through a bill that would spend $1 billion taxpayer dollars on a gilded ballroom and not one penny on bringing down American costs.
This ought to be a bipartisan matter. This isn't for the ballroom. It's for the security on the White House facilities.
Senate Republicans hope to pass the immigration funding bill later this week and send it to the House. DHS Secretary Markwayne Mullin said the shutdown and pay problems are even hurting preparations for next month's World Cup.
Just think about 5 to 7 million visitors coming in. How many bad actors are trying to use that influx of individuals to get in?
As inspiration for Congress to fund DHS and keep those salaries coming, Senator John Kennedy pushed through a procedural vote on a resolution Wednesday to withhold senators' pay during shutdowns.
The yeas are 99, the nays are 0.
The House vote on immigration funding could come late next week before they go on Memorial Day recess. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
Netflix is firing back after Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton filed a lawsuit accusing the company of spying on kids and addicting its users. Fox's Madeline Rivera has more from Washington.
A new big tech lawsuit could have a major impact on the streaming world. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton is suing Netflix, claiming the company is using its platform to steal data from its users and specifically design the app to be addictive. Netflix CEO Ted Sarandos tells Fox those allegations aren't true.
We have the most transparent privacy policies in the industry. The idea that we make the product to be addictive. Do we make great television? Yes. Guilty. Do we make it artificially addictive? Absolutely not.
Sarandos did say Netflix catered to customer desire in its early days by not advertising and releasing all its original programming episodes at the same time, effectively creating the binge-watching phenomenon.
I really felt like if you didn't continue to innovate, that you would be destroying the market. So you have to use this position to kind of lean into what consumers want.
The legal action follows rulings against other big tech companies like Facebook and YouTube, which are both found guilty of violating consumer protection laws in separate lawsuits.
We're desperate to get kids in the U.S. off their screens and outside and playing with each other.
And lawmakers on Capitol Hill are hinting there could be more action coming at the federal level.
All the parents I know, myself included, are deeply concerned about all the time that kids spend glued to screens.
Some lawmakers are floating the idea of regulating streaming services the same way as broadcasters, meaning they'd be subject to oversight by the FCC. In Washington, Madeline Rivera, Fox News.
If you've been to the gas station or the grocery store in the last 2 months, you know prices are up. Wednesday's latest inflation data revealed just how much costs are climbing amid the ongoing U.S. war with Iran. We go back to Fox's Caroline Elliott.
With peace talks with Iran stuck in limbo, Wednesday's new wholesale inflation numbers could ramp up pressure for the administration to find an off-ramp from the conflict. Producer prices shot up 6% in April compared to a year earlier and up nearly 1.5% from March, the biggest monthly gain in more than 4 years.
We have a cost of living emergency. The American people are drowning in debt and in bills.
Energy prices climbed nearly 8% from March to April and soared more than 22% compared to a year ago.
The conflict with Iran has put a little damper on that. Now, as soon as that's resolved, you're going to have prices come down overall.
President Trump has proposed pausing the gas tax to limit some of the pain drivers are feeling, but it would need to pass Congress, and not all Republicans are on board.
The Highway Trust Fund's already difficult to fund, and we've got a lot of needs in that area.
As the White House tries to ease Americans' concerns over rising prices, comments like this are not helping.
The only thing that matters when I'm talking about Iran, they can't have a nuclear weapon. I don't think about American financial situation. I don't think about anybody.
I don't expect that affordability is going to be number one on his issue every hour. I do know it's number one on his list every day.
And the new inflation numbers could also alter the dynamic at the Federal Reserve, with incoming chair Kevin Warsh under immense pressure to lower interest rates. At New York, Caroline Elliott, Fox News.
Spirit Airlines has ceased operations, and now work is underway across the country to collect the airline's abandoned planes. Fox's Ashley Rodriguez has more on one company working to repo the planes.
You know the repo guy that comes for your car when you don't pay the bills? Well, apparently there's a repo guy for planes, and that's exactly what's happening here in Goodyear. All of Spirit's planes are getting repossessed, and then they're going to be sold for parts, or leased out. Driving down West Buckeye Road in Goodyear, you'll see the artifacts of a bygone era. A bunch of bright yellow Airbus 320s flown to the airport by Captain Bob Allen of Nomadic Aviation Group.
We're contracted to pick them up at the airports that Spirit abandoned the airplanes at. We get the pilots on site there, and then we gain access to the airplanes.
Allen hires pilots, some of whom worked for Spirit Airlines but are now unemployed. In fact, that's how he got into the business 2 decades ago.
I was with several airlines that failed. I've been through 5 different airlines where I've woke up the next morning and they're telling me the doors have closed and I don't have a job anymore, and I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to, make my mortgage payment, feed my kids, and get health care.
The planes will be repainted and released or sold to other airline companies. But the engines inside them, that's what's really valuable. Some planes will be bought just for that part alone, costing around $15 to $20 million, or about as much as the whole airplane.
Here we go, embarking on 24 hours of flying.
Allen and his contracted pilots have picked up planes from Atlantic City, Fort Lauderdale, and Miami 25 times this month, dropping them off in not only Goodyear, but Marana, too.
The reason we take them out here to Arizona is, number one, Arizona is a dry climate. So airplanes that sit in wet climates or humid climates, they start to deteriorate. They start developing corrosion. This is a very difficult situation, not only for Spirit, their employees, but also these leasing companies are losing an enormous amount of money right here. They're trusting us to get the airplanes and do it as efficiently as possible.
Ashley Rodriguez.
Our mission is complete. Heading to a hotel for a few hours, then getting on another airplane and heading home.
The Federal Reserve releases last year's data for the economic well-being of U.S. households. Fox Business Network's David Asman has a look at that story and more in today's Fox Means Business.
Markets finished the day mixed for your Wednesday. The S&P 500 and NASDAQ surging to record highs, driven by the technology sector, but the Dow finished the day lower. Well, producer prices surged much more than expected in April, gaining 6% annually and 1.4% from March. That's the biggest monthly gain since March 2022, adding to evidence that the Iran war energy shock is fueling broader inflation across goods and services. The increase also complicates the Federal Reserve's policy outlook, especially after Tuesday's hot consumer price index report. Well, the Federal Reserve released its economic well-being of U.S. households for 2025. 73% of respondents say they're, quote, doing okay or, quote, living comfortably financially, which was unchanged from a year earlier. But the report also finds job anxiety is climbing, with 42% now saying finding or keeping a job is a concern. Meanwhile, only 26% of respondents rated the national economy as, quote, good or, quote, excellent, well below the 50% recorded before the COVID-19 pandemic. Birkenstock is now warning of rising cost pressures for the second half of 2026 as the Iran war drags on. The shoemaker says the Middle East conflict is delaying shipments, causing a roughly $7 million impact to its Europe, Middle East, and Africa segments. Birkenstock also is contending with higher tariffs in the U.S., with executives saying its average tariff burden has risen from just over 10% to above 20%. And that's business. I'm David Asman.
Just ahead, we have your full 5-day forecast.
Rain showers made their way in this evening. They look to stick around throughout tonight into tomorrow and to your Friday as well. When is this rain going to get out of here, and when are we going to start seeing some warmer weather? We'll have those answers coming right up.
Blazing Trails, located in Lincoln, is your #1 trusted caregiver storefront. From personalized consultations to the highest quality product, Blazing Trails provides outstanding patient services to Eastern and Central Maine. Discover how we're blazing the trails to quality holistic medicine.
Carpets looking tired, stained, or just plain dirty? It's time to call the pros. At C&R Carpet Cleaning, we use deep steam technology to remove dirt, odors, pet hair, and allergens fast. Fresh, clean carpets, healthier home. That's the C&R promise. Visit our Facebook page for a free estimate or call us today, 631-7380. Step into clean with C&R Carpet Cleaning.
Let's kick it. The I Love the 90s tour is back, featuring Vanilla Ice, Montel Jordan, Tolo, so be my queen if you know what I mean. Let's do the wild vibe. Color Me Bad and Young MC. It's the return of the I Love the 90s tour, Friday, May 29th, Cross Insurance Center. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com or the Cross Insurance Center box office. I Love the 90s tour live.
My grandmother was a nurse, and I really enjoy caring for people. Once I found out about the community college and what they offer, I felt that that was a sign. I'm able to become an RN in 2 years and receive a great education, a very hands-on education. Now that I am a nurse, I cannot picture myself doing anything else. I mean, the opportunities are endless. The world is your oyster as a nurse.
Blazing Trails, located in Lincoln, is your #1 trusted caregiver storefront. From personalized consultations to the highest quality product, Blazing Trails provides outstanding patient services to Eastern and Central Maine. Discover how we're blazing the trails to quality holistic medicine.
No one can go to sleep.
Shot callers?
The Fear Factor 48 Hours of Fear. The 2-week event begins this Thursday on Fox.
Thank you very much. Tonight's weather is brought to you by Rogan's Memorials. Give the gift of comfort through thoughtful planning with locations in Bangor, Bucksport, and Lincoln. All right, for highs today, we did see some increase in cloud cover, so some of us cooler than others, and it's usually the other way around, but we were cooler down to the southwest for today. Freiburg at 46 degrees for your afternoon high, while Holton and Presque Isle well up north for today saw a little bit more sunshine early on. That kept you in the low 60s this afternoon, but we did get our fair share of some cloud cover and a few evening showers out there. Still ongoing now, and that's going to keep lows tonight right around the low to mid 40s, but there is a warm front arriving throughout the night, so we will see temperatures continue to slowly warm throughout the night into tomorrow. Some of these models want to bring us into the low to mid 60s. I will keep us in the low 60s for tomorrow. So yes, that warm front and a gusty south wind is going to help us warm up, but a lot of cloud cover and a lot of showers that we have to deal with for tomorrow as well. Now that can keep us forecasted cooler than what is expected, right? So average highs this time of year in the mid 60s. I got us at 61 for tomorrow. 60 for your Friday on the back end of that low pressure, but check out this weekend. Mid to upper 70s for Saturday and the Sunday. Low 70s Monday. Almost near 80 on Tuesday. So that May heat is finally arriving. By Wednesday, we'll be back near average with the passage of a cold front, but still, we'll take that, right? Some much more warmer weather to arrive, especially starting this weekend. So winds out there right now, a little breezy at times, and we're going to see that light wind stick around for tomorrow. It's going to get a little bit more gusty out there, gusting near 20 to 25 miles per hour with that warm front making its way through. All this wind will be coming from the south, so yes, there will be some high wave heights along the shoreline for tomorrow. Now, as we get into your Thursday night to your Friday, this is when the back end of the low pressure is going to be making its way through. So you will get a wind switch for your Friday morning into your Friday afternoon. Those winds looking to be from the north and the northwest. And this is the early morning hours, so they'll be a little bit lighter then. But by Friday afternoon, you will see an afternoon breeze out there once again. So the warm front is currently pushing through the area tonight. So you're going to see those showers continue to lift north with that warm front. Now, there is going to be an inclusion happening here, which is where the cold fronts will catch up to the warm front. So that's why this kind of just sticks right around here. The Portland region, this is not good for you. You're going to see some heavy rainfall that's going to stick around for quite a while. You'll see that Thursday afternoon while the rest of us just deal with some light scattered showers out there. You can see that front still sticking right over Portland, right? This is why you're going to see plenty of rain, some flooding opportunities down there all the way into Friday afternoon. Still got some scattered showers in the region, but the main area that's still seeing that rain is going to be Portland, right? So this is where we have to watch that for those flooding opportunities. Now, most of this is going to be done by Friday evening and will be drying out for your weekend. But you can see here, not much rain to be had in the Bangor area, right? Right around a quarter inch for many of us, less as you go east, but the more you go west, look at this number for Portland, close to 2 inches of rainfall by your Saturday morning. So that's giving you an idea of how much rain is going to fall within the next few days here, especially in the southwestern portion of the state. So for tonight, low to mid 40s out there, some scattered showers, clouds and fog, of course, as winds are staying light from the south. A warm front is coming through for tonight into tomorrow. That should help us reach the low 60s. Cloudy skies in the area, though, with scattered rain showers. More of that heavier rain is going to stay off to the west and southwest with a gusty southeast wind. So taking a look at your extended forecast for your Friday, still right around 60 degrees with scattered showers, but a nice jump into your weekend into the mid to upper 70s. Plenty of sunshine then. Staying sunny into your Monday, just a bit cooler, hanging out in the low 70s. Beth?
Chase, thank you so much, folks. Don't go anywhere. Sports is next.
Dreaming of a new garage or custom build? Patriot Landscaping and Construction delivers from frame to finish. Expert craftsmanship, durable designs, and quality you can trust. We get it done right. Call Patriot Landscaping and Construction today. Let's build your future together.
Think you know Robert Charles? Think again. While President Trump was crushing the woke left, DC insider Bob Charles was cashing in, making millions holding lucrative contracts with the woke DEI Never Trump Obama administration. Bob Charles, looking the other way, abandoning the MAGA movement, working for liberal DEI-loving Democrats, failing President Trump. Anything for a buck chuck can't be trusted. Trump traitor Robert Charles. Woke, radical, wrong. Just too liberal for Maine.
For the best selection in classic and contemporary furnishings, stop by Richard Parks Furniture on High Street in Ellsworth. Handcrafted New England-made bedrooms and dining rooms, imported Scandinavian recliners and upholstery, more than 40 lines of furniture for the home and patio. Richard Parks Furniture is your #1 stop for quality, functionality, and well-designed furniture at affordable prices. Richard Parks Furniture.
Discover Richard Parks.
132 High Street in Ellsworth.
Discover Richard.
Dreaming of a new garage or custom build? Patriot Landscaping and Construction delivers from frame to finish. Expert craftsmanship, durable designs, and quality you can trust. We get it done right. Call Patriot Landscaping and Construction today. Let's build your future together.
It's a special Fox UFL Friday. The Orlando Storm face the Dallas Renegades live at Fort Hood. It all kicks off at 8 Eastern on Fox.
Folks, the Huston University softball team has qualified for the NCAA tournament in each of the last 8 seasons, and for the 3rd time in 5 years, they'll host a regional round right here in Bangor. The Eagles hosted the tournament in 2021 and 24, and will do so again starting on Thursday as the number 12 ranked team in the nation for Division III. Eagles senior catcher Morgan Tainter acknowledged how great the opportunity is to play at home in the opening round of the NCAA tournament, not for the advantage that comes with that, but the idea that teams from around the region will be able to experience the town of Bangor.
We always love a good home field advantage, but to host it here and know that these schools aren't, like, most of them haven't played here ever. So we are super excited to be able to show them, like, what Bangor, Maine has to offer and how we're ready to come out and win.
The Eagles drew Endicott College in Monday's selection show and will face off with the Gulls on Thursday. Senior Morgan Curtis says that this team's goal did not stop at winning the NAC title and that they're here to win.
Pretty much we just remind each other that our record now is 0-0 and so is everybody else's. So when we show up to practice, we show up like it's warm-ups for a game. We have an expectation now, and being able to perform at the high standard of a regional is what we're focusing on.
Good luck to the Eagles. We'll have that game for you on Thursday. Keeping it local, Maine's 2025 Mr. Maine Baseball has made an instant impact with the University of Southern Maine Huskies baseball program as Foxcroft Academy alum Hayden Strout was recognized for his efforts on Wednesday. Strout was named the 2026 Little East Conference Rookie of the Year, becoming the first pitcher to win Rookie of the Year in a storied history for USM. The lefty posted a 6-1 record with a 3.38 ERA as the former Pony continues to dominate at the next level. The Huskies are hosting a regional in the NCAA tournament this weekend after winning the Little East Conference as they look to make a run in the national tournament. Let's stay on the diamond for some high school baseball action. We'll take you to Newport, where the Nokomis Warriors hosted the Skowhegan Riverhawks. Some light rain in the mix, but in Newport, but we played ball anyway. In the first inning, it's going to be a hit from Jack Fitzpatrick as Nokomis looking for the easy out, but they can't clean it up. Fitzpatrick ends up on base. In the second inning, though, it's another nice hit from the Riverhawks, but Nokomis' Owen Sides tracks it down for the out. Riverhawks find a way to the base in the early goings of this one. John Johnson with a hit to right field, and he takes first. Then the Warriors took off. Maddox Hawthorne with a deep center hit. That would set up Jeff Carr for a big 2-run homer to make it 2-0. Sorry we missed that one, but we wanted to recognize you, Jeff. Riverhawks get on the board when Ari Brown's hits sends Fitzpatrick home, but the Warriors kept scoring. Owen Buck with a deep hit, and Hawthorne gets home again. Warriors go on to win 9-1. The Maine Mariners and Wheeling Nailers facing off in a critical Game 5 at the Cross Insurance Arena on Wednesday night. The Mariners scoring a dramatic 2-1 double overtime win last night to even up the series at 2. Back to the Cross we go. Hearts of Pine founder and Maine Sports Hall of Fame inductee Gabe Hoffman Johnson dropping tonight's ceremonial first puck. Nailers strike first in the first. Ryan McAllister follows his own rebound and puts it home for a 1-0 Wheeling lead. Minutes later, McAllister is going to look for another, but look at this stop from Luke Calavini. He's been on it these past 3 games. Big key to Mariners' success. Still in the first. Here come the Mariners. Ben Allison in the slot sends a splitzer to the back of the net. We're tied at 1. Less than a minute later, the red-hot Max Andreeve beats Taylor Gauthier. Mariners up 2-1 after the first period. Second period now, Mariners on the power play. It's going to be Andreeve. He's going to have the one-timer and slap it home for his second of the game. 3-1 Mariners now. They're rolling. Third period, Mariners up 4-2. Xander Lampa is going to feed Brooklyn Kalmikov for his second of the game. That was the knockout punch as the Mariners win Game 5, 5-3. They now lead the series 3-2. Can wrap things up Friday night in Game 6 at Wheeling. We'll head down to Boston for some headlines now, where some exciting news about the Patriots was released on Wednesday. The Pats will open the NFL season on Wednesday. Yes, a Wednesday, September 9th, in a Super Bowl rematch against the Seattle Seahawks, an early test for the 2026 Pats. It was also announced they'll be a part of the International Series. The Pats will travel to Germany to take on the Detroit Lions in Week 10. We'll have the entire schedule for you on Thursday night as it's released. And finally, we'll pivot to the ice now, where the Bruins got some news to look forward to, or not. Their star defenseman Charlie McAvoy will serve a 6-game suspension to start next season. In Game 6 of their series against the Buffalo Sabres, as time was winding down on their season, McAvoy got slew-footed by Sabres forward Zach Benson, and in response, McAvoy took an axe-style chop at Benson, which, as you'd assume, is highly illegal. So the Bruins' assistant captain is slated to miss the first 6 games of next year. However, he does have the opportunity to appeal that one. Can't blame McAvoy there, but probably not the right thing to do, right? That's all the time we have for sports. We're right back after the break.
Paramount Paving, Maine's go-to for all your paving and seal coating. Paramount Paving offers commercial and residential paving and seal coating services throughout eastern and central Maine. Give us a call for a free estimate today. Paramount Paving. When it comes to paving, we are Paramount.
I'm Owen McCarthy, running for governor. Here's why they say I can't win. Not a politician. I'm an engineer, business builder, and problem solver. Augusta, they don't do problem solving. No famous last name. Yeah, I'm the son of a logger and a lunch lady from north of Augusta. Plan is too detailed. My plan makes Maine affordable for working people. They say it's too smart for politicians to understand. Too nice. Yeah, I'm not an asshole. I'm Owen McCarthy. Let's prove him wrong.
Hi, I'm Tony with TC Hafford Basement Systems. All things basement-y. Is your foundation shifting, settling, or cracking? Don't wait till it's too late. We offer the most reliable solutions to lift and stabilize your sinking foundation. With our advanced piering techniques, we'll ensure your home is back on solid ground. Call TC Hafford Basement Systems today for all things basementing.
In Maine, your pavement takes a beating. That's why Sturgis Construction does it right, from the ground up, specializing in asphalt paving, seal coating, and site prep. We build surfaces designed to handle harsh winters, heavy use, and everything in between. Whether it's a residential driveway or commercial lot, we deliver a finish that lasts. Protection, performance, professional results. Sturgis Construction. Asphalt done right.
Webb's RV Center has a 4-acre lot with over 75 previously owned campers all on sale, plus another 4 acres of new RVs and motorhomes. Webb's RV will take anything in trade. You can buy a camper anywhere, but be sure to buy your next camper at your local neighbor. A website can't service your RV, but Webb's RV will. And they have the biggest service department in the state of Maine to help you enjoy your RV or motorhome.
So come on down, neighbor. The coffee pot's on and the pencil is sharp.
Paramount Paving, Maine's go-to for all your paving and seal coating. Paramount Paving offers commercial and residential paving and seal coating services throughout eastern and central Maine. Give us a call for a free estimate today. Paramount Paving. When it comes to paving, we are Paramount.
The best anglers in the world battle the water and each other. The Bassmaster Elite Series, Saturday on Fox.
From music specials to Broadway, Fox's Ashley Dvorkin has all of the latest in today's Hollywood Nation.
Gaga drops Mayhem Requiem. Weird Al heads to the stage, and Jury Duty gets another notice in the Hollywood Nation.
This is my first day here.
Jury Duty is back for another round of unsuspecting chaos. Prime Video renewed the Emmy and Golden Globe nominated series for a third season. Following the March premiere of Season 2, Jury Duty presents Corporate Retreat. Weird Al Yankovic is bringing his biggest hits to Broadway. Dare to Be Stupid, the Weird Al musical is in development, featuring hit songs from the parody music icons catalog. Arnold Schwarzenegger is suiting up as Santa Claus for his next big role. Prime Video revealed images from The Man with the Bag, starring Schwarzenegger and Alan Ritchson in a holiday comedy about Santa teaming up with a thief to save Christmas. The film debuts December 2nd.
I'm in a random group chat with some guys planning their bachelor party.
Kevin Hart gets pulled into bachelor party chaos in today's first looks. Netflix released the trailer for the comedy 72 Hours, starring Hart as a struggling executive who joins a bachelor party after accidentally being added to their group chat. The film premieres July 30th. Lady Gaga is unleashing Mayhem Requiem for fans worldwide. She released the trailer for her upcoming Apple Music concert special, featuring live performances of songs from her album Mayhem. Filmed at the Wiltern in Los Angeles, the special and companion live album dropped May 14th on Apple Music. Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
And that is going to do it for us, folks. From everyone here at Fox 22 News, take care and have a great rest of your night. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.
For more local news coverage, switch over to our sister station, ABC7, right now for ABC7 News at 11.
Decker Investigations.
I have a job for you.
All episodes of R.J. Decker are now streaming on Hulu.
Como se dice possible homicide?
It's entertainingly twisty.
Where would we be without low-rent PI?
Get hooked on this must-watch compelling hit.
That's straight gold, son.
It's being called one of the best new shows this year.
Repeat after me, okay? Everything is gonna be...
Try not to die tonight.
I'll do my best.
R.J. Decker. All episodes now streaming on Hulu.
Sharon Stone and Katrina Balfe on Jimmy Kimmel Live. Later tonight.
This is ABC 7 News at 11.
Arts are